It's that time of year again when movie studios trot out their latest and greatest horror movies in celebration of that most wonderful time of the year, spooky season. As the nights draw in and All Hallows Eve approaches, what better way to get in the mood than gorging a ton of new horror films? 2023 has certainly been a banner year for the genre, and so whether you're keen to leave the house for a trip to the cinema or want to stay curled up inside, we've got you covered. I'm Ellie with What Culture here with 10 new horror movies you must watch this Halloween 2023. Number 10, Saw X. Once upon a time, Halloween reliably meant the arrival of a new Saw movie. And though the franchise's recent attempts to soft reboot itself have largely fallen flat, what a pleasant surprise it is to report that Saw X is shockingly good. The first film in the series to receive predominantly positive reviews from critics, Saw X retains the IP's signature focus on extreme gore, yet opts for a more character-driven narrative focus than prior entries, finally giving John Kramer the centre spotlight. Set between the original two Saw movies, this 10th installment skillfully, even affectingly, fleshes out Kramer's backstory while sidestepping many of the series' most egregious pitfalls. For a franchise as creatively stagnant as this, to finally find an interesting path forward is nothing short of a seasonal miracle. And Saw X is in cinemas now. Number 9, Totally Killer. First and foremost, Totally Killer rocks one of the most intriguingly inventive horror premises of the year. Teenager Jamie is sent back in time to 1987, where she must team up with her own teenage mother to take down a serial killer. This film is simply a ton of fun, as both a gory slasher and a ribald time travel comedy. And if you've previously enjoyed the likes of Happy Death Day and Freaky, then you should get some solid kicks out of this film. Frequently hilarious and propelled forward by a killer central performance from Kiernan Shipka, Totally Killer proves the horror comedy subgenre is far from being dead. And Totally Killer is out now on Amazon Prime Video. Number 8, Slaughterhouse. Look, it's a movie about a killer sloth hunting down a fleet of sorority girls. What more do you really need to know? By his own admission, screenwriter Bradley Fowler came up with the premise for this hilariously monikered Slaughterhouse while actively trying to think up the dumbest idea he could for a movie. It's far from the smartest or the most nuanced horror you'll ever see, but Matthew Goodhue's film does know exactly what it is and delivers precisely what it advertises. This is a goofy, dumb time that offers up a dementedly absurd spin on the typical sorority slasher formula, while making the absolute most of its terrifically adorable antagonist. And at just 93 minutes long, it also knows the virtue of brevity. And Slaughterhouse is out now on Paramount+. Number 7, A Haunting in Venice. If you want to ease yourself into spooky season, the third entry into Kenneth Branagh's Poirot franchise is actually a solid shout for this. Ultimately more of a supernatural mystery thriller than an outright horror, A Haunting in Venice, nevertheless, marks something of an intriguing tonal shift for the series, slipping into darker territory and in turn, offering up the most dramatically intriguing of the three movies. Outstanding visuals and a superb ensemble cast don't hurt, especially with the terrific Michelle Yeoh, nor a svelte 103-minute runtime, which actually makes it considerably shorter than both Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile. Fingers crossed, its underperformance at the box office won't mark the end of Branagh's tenure as the big screen shepherd of this property. A Haunting in Venice is out now in cinemas. Number 6, Appendage. Horror movies as metaphors for trauma are all the rage right now, but Appendage refreshingly takes a more blackly comedic approach. The film focuses on fashion designer Hannah as her intense feelings of self-doubt manifest into a literally monstrous creature. It's far from a subtle concept, yet its tonally nimble approach manages to be both perversely amusing and genuinely persuasive as a character-driven drama, in large part due to Hadley Robinson's well-calibrated lead performance. Anyone who's ever had to contend with the voice in their head, so all of us, right, will surely find something to identify with in this movie, and Appendage is streaming now on Hulu. Number 5. No One Will Save You. Spontaneous director Brian Duffield returns with one of the most provocative and unexpected horror films of the year. Caitlin Dever stars as Bryn, an anxious young woman who suddenly finds herself fending off an alien invasion. The setup might sound conventional enough, but Duffield goes on to toy with audience expectations in some devilishly clever ways. For one, there's barely any dialogue throughout the 93-minute movie, and beyond that, the pick branches off in some laudably daring and ambitious directions later on. Ultimately though, it's Dever's terrific performance which grounds this tightly wound romp and ensures audiences will remain thoroughly engaged despite the scarcity of words. Disney's probably kicking themselves for not releasing this one in cinemas because it could have been a breakout sleeper hit, but No One Will Save You is actually streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu. Number 4. Sister Death. Rec director Paco Plaza returns with a prequel to his acclaimed 2017 supernatural horror Veronica. Set in post-war Spain, when a supernaturally gifted nun, Narcissa, arrives at a former convent to teach a school of girls. Naturally, unsettling events soon enough begin unfolding around her. Plaza is nothing if not a reliable genre hand, and while few were likely screaming out for a Veronica prequel, the marketing suggests it'll stand pretty firmly on its own 2 feet. As a stylish mood exercise, this looks wild, and after a certain recent big-screen nun-themed movie was a pure dud, it looks like the small screen has come running to the rescue. Now I'll be honest, I am absolutely terrified of nuns, have been since I was a kid, so I think I'll be giving this one a miss. Number 3. Haunted Mansion. If you're a parent or simply in the market for a horror film without any discernible blood and guts, Disney's new take on Haunted Mansion just might be the ticket you're craving. While certainly not living up to the full potential of both its cast and director, as a cozy, easy-to-watch bump-in-the-night horror comedy, it works more than it doesn't, and certainly improves upon 2003's Eddie Murphy starring take. Carried by a stellar lead turn from Lakeith Stanfield, this is an unapologetically silly ride that doesn't do much to get under the skin, but is an entertaining enough jaunt while you're watching it. Now, given the general lack of horror content aimed squarely at younger audiences these days, parents could do a lot worse. So Haunted Mansion is now streaming on Disney Plus, so get your kids watching. Number 2. Suitable Flesh. Gonzo genre veteran Joe Lynch returns with his latest effort, a seemingly bonkers adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's The Thing on the Doorstep that's earned rave reviews on the genre festival circuit so far. Penned by Reanimator writer Dennis Paoli, it stars Heather Graham as psychiatrist Dr. Elizabeth Darby, who becomes entangled with Asa, a young patient suffering from multiple personality disorder. Now, Darby ends up crossing the professional line with Asa, leading to a most unexpected collision of demonic possession and body swap subgenres. Critics have roundly praised the film as a major comeback for the underrated Graham in what's said to be a sexy, hilarious, queasy ride. Number 1. The Puppet Man. The latest horror from Brandon Christensen revolves around the daughter of an infamous serial killer named the Puppet Man, whose bloodlust she fears she may have inherited. The trailer does a stellar job conveying the Puppet Man's utterly bone-chilling MO, taking control of a victim's body while leaving them entirely aware of what's happening, yet powerless to stop it. Nice. Early reviews have singled out a creatively brutal death sequence as one of the film's highlights, and if Christensen's prior offerings are any indication, he certainly knows how to deliver the tense, solidly stylish goods. And The Puppet Man is streaming now on Shudder. And there you go, at least 10 horror movies you should be watching this Halloween. And we've covered all bases here. There's films suitable for children, and there's some that maybe not so much. Make sure that you hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell as well, and head over to Twitter to follow us there. And I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.